Liam, you said after the Watford game we can do a lot better. So having reflected a bit more, could you expand on any elements of that?
Yeah, I don't want to belittle the positives because there was obviously so many good aspects in terms of the goals we scored, the chances we created. I thought high elements of control. It was more probably the little bits where how we gave up control at times was more on us through little bits of sloppiness, taking too long on the ball or misplacing a pass. It was probably those little moments for me that, again, I think we can get better at. And that's the bit. It's about pushing the lads, driving the lads, but it's really important we recognise the positives because there were so many from the game as well. So that's the bit. It's like I said, I'll always come away and go, right, what was good? What can we do better? So yeah, that's kind of how I felt. And I've watched it back. I'm probably a little tough on the lads, but at the same point, again, I think it's better to be that way. To really push and drive and develop and get better as a group.
It was, a fantastic result, and obviously the fans are extremely happy. Where does that balance between being critical in a good way, being over positive? How do you kind of manage that?
I think role modelling it in terms of me and my emotions and how I communicate, I think is really important with the players. So again, I think the staff as well, I think it's terrific. It's, like I said, take the positives, take obviously, a huge amount of, really good reflections and learning from it, but also then go, right, it's on to the next one. I think that's the nature of this division, which if you do relax, if you do get a bit complacent, if you do get carried away with yourselves and thinking you've cracked it, then for me, you'll quickly come back to bite you. So for me, like I said, kind of keeping the lads in a sweet spot for me. I think confidence is a real tricky thing in terms of I think you can become overconfident quite quickly, the same as you lose a couple of games and you can become really low on confidence. So it's kind of trying to keep that even keel and that bigger picture perspective of, we've still got a huge amount of, football to play this season. So, enjoy the moments while we're on a good run, but, make sure that we understand why we are where we are.
Do you quickly, therefore, box Watford away today when the players come in? We're only just over 24 hours to the Birmingham City match.
Yeah, we'll link a little bit. So we'll show a little bit of video, I think, from the other day. So we'll link, the opposition stuff, the game plan for obviously tomorrow's game, but we'll use some of our positives from the weekend, to kind of link the two games. So you get a nice, little crossover of a post-match with a pre-match. So we'll do that. And then, yeah, it is very much that is bang on to the next one because it just happens so quickly.
We're facing a Birmingham City side who've, their fortunes have, gone down really since the appointment of Wayne Rooney. Are you a head coach who looks at form, looks at trends, or do you not take too much notice of that?
No, not massively. Not for me. I think in terms of sometimes it can make them extremely dangerous because in terms of wanting to bounce back, wanting to respond, that fighting mentality which us competitors all have in us. So again, for me, I can't control Birmingham. I can't control where they're at or what they do, or emotionally where they're at. For me, it's all on us. Making sure that we're in the correct place. We do all the preparation correctly, and that we're in the best place possible to step on the pitch tomorrow and perform and try and build on obviously some extremely good results and good performances.
We are on the eve of our third game in 8 days, and you've made changes to a minimum, really. How do you manage that selection process?
Yeah, and I've said it before, it's the hardest part of the job. I think in terms of everybody wants to play, everybody wants to start, everybody wants maximum minutes, but I can't speak highly enough of the squad in terms of, we talk a lot here around team first. And again, I think in terms of, people behind the scenes of living it, which again, it's not easy because you sometimes have to kind of park your own individual goals, aspirations and your needs and wants for actually the team, which again, I think if you can get everybody in that place where we all do that, I think is a really powerful thing. So we'll definitely, keep pushing that. Again, physically, we obviously need to be mindful of it, but it's that balance of, I think sometimes you can become too cute, too clever to try and change things, thinking too far ahead, rather than, the most important thing is, picking a team and putting out a team, that we think can win tomorrow. And the good thing is, the minute we've got depth, so we can make changes. We've obviously still got people to come back, but the minute we've, got options, and you saw that with the changes we made from the bench at the weekend. So it's that fine line of, keeping momentum, building rhythm, building on positives and relationships, but also at the same point having an eye on, who is at risk, who's maybe slightly fatigued, who will bring an element of freshness to it. So they're conversations that are constant, with the players, with the information that we collect, and as a group of staff.
That team ethic, so, and just use Joe Williams and Andreas Weimann as examples. Players are obviously desperate to play. We chatted to Andy afterwards, since he'd been a bit frustrated, but particularly Joe, you put him in on Boxing Day, outstanding performance, man of the match. Andreas came on, scored the fourth goal. That team ethic, how critical is that?
I think it's massive. I think it is, especially where the world's at now. And again, I think in terms of, you look at players individually, they'll all have their own goals and aspirations individually, and rightly so, all staff should as well. So again, I think it's then understanding how you get that. It's a lot easier individually to get what you want if the team's performing well and being successful. So it's on me as well to try and communicate that with the players, to manage the players, to make sure that, for me, I try to be transparent and honest. I do think that helps. It might be a difficult conversation in the short term, but I definitely think in terms of players understanding where they're at and why, I think it definitely helps with the culture and people, buying into putting the team first. So, like I've said so many times, we are going to need everybody. And you see it with Anis. You're not in the team for a while, and all of a sudden it changes. You step in, and now you've obviously had a run of games and opportunities, so it can change that quick. So again, I think the most important thing is that when that happens, players are ready. So they're mentally in a good space, physically they're in a good space, and the staff do a great job here. I think of people that aren't in the squad, we give them a huge amount of time. We make sure that we deliver sessions bespoke to them and that, what they need. So again, I think it's that balance of not all the time and energy just goes into the starting lineup. We make sure that we manage everybody correctly.
And you've got players you're hoping to get back sooner or later, really. People like Rob Atkinson, Cal Naismith, how close are they?
Rob's heading in the direction. Cal's had a little bit of a setback, so I'm slightly unfortunate on that one. Ross is in a really good spot, as is Kingy. So them two are back in full training now. So hopefully, in the coming couple of weeks, hope to be able to include them in the squad. It's obviously now just building on match minutes, training minutes, and building up a workload where they're ready to be involved. You obviously can't go from being out for a period to straight in the squad. You have to build up levels of fitness to be ready for that. So they're definitely heading in the right direction. So Hayden Roberts is coming on well. So we're definitely heading in the right direction, which it's going to be a welcome boost to the squad, definitely.
And finally, how significant would a win be going into the new year?
Yeah, it'd be great. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I said, we're on a good run of form now. It's not the be all and end all, but of course we will be doing everything in our power to make sure that we win tomorrow. And that starts with obviously post game Watford, the recovery, the rest that the players have into the checks they'll do when they come in this morning, the work that we do today. And I think it's about momentum's big. I think in this division, if you can put runs together, like we're on a little bit in the minute, I think it goes a long way in terms of helping you push in the right direction.